One of the biggest changes from the Industrial Revolution was economies of scale. For example, before, people had to plant and harvest things by hand, hopefully with the help of animals. This took a long time. But once they started using fossil fuel for energy, it was much easier, much quicker. Fossil fuels burn much hotter and longer than wood. This allows for the internal combustion engine, which means you can use things like tractors and all kinds of mechanized farming equipment. So one person can be much more productive. One day's work with an animal can produce maybe a couple hundred tomatoes. One day's work with mechanized equipment can produce tens of thousands. The bottom line for consumers is economies of scale make things much, much cheaper. For example, suppose you wanted to start your own fish shop, but you needed to catch the fish one by one off the pier or maybe a boat. If you caught 20 fish per day, you'd need to sell them at a price that would give you a decent day's wage. If you wanted to work 10 hours and you wanted to pay yourself $15 an hour, you need to sell 20 fish for $150. That's nearly $8 a fish. And suppose you set up your fish stand next to a guy that had nets and sonar, etc. He would go out and catch hundreds of fish in an hour or two. Sure, he'd have to pay more for his boat and equipment than you would for your fishing pole, but he'd be able to sell his fish for way less than $8 a fish, maybe 50 cents a fish. There's no way you could compete. How about in other areas? Can we find another example of economies of scale? Why, yes, we can. First, let's look at game from the pier fishing guy. He goes up to every cute girl he sees and tries some game. Right off the bat, we can see the similarities. We can even use the same metaphors. Plenty of fish in the sea, the one that got away, etc. What's the economies of scale version of game? Imagine a fairly packed place that has an open mic night, and suppose you get up and absolutely kill it. This would be like fishing with a net. Step down, lean your back up against the bar, and scan the crowd, and wait for the ladies to come to you. This is better in many, many ways. One is the ladies are coming to you, so they are doing all the work, which means whatever happens, since they initiated it, they will own whatever happens. Which means during the entire relationship, when they initiated, they will do most of the work because they know that all you need to do is hit up another open mic night and find plenty of replacements. This way you can game all the fish in the sea at once. To learn how, visit mindpersuasion.com/3x3.